What's up, guys? It is IRGT85. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone slept well on Wednesday night because I mean, I didn't. It's currently Thursday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep, but hey, you know what? Who cares? We got video game news to talk about. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like and share as well. We are well on the road to 400,000 subscribers. Let's hit it sooner rather than later. You guys will get some giveaways that I'll be doing for this as well when we hit 400,000. So it really benefits you more than it benefits me. But let's kick things off today by talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, do you remember Cyberpunk 2077? A game that was, well, supposed to like revolutionize video games. It was going to be one of the biggest video game releases of all time, this crazy sprawling world. But before the game released on consoles, there was one man who said, you know what, I think something's up with this game. Something doesn't seem right. Something smells a bit fishy. And that man was booed. He was thrown tomatoes at him. They tried to crucify him to the cross, but he was right at the end of the day. And that man was me, because Cyberpunk 2077, of course, released, and there was just a myriad of problems on the console versions of these games. It didn't run like it was supposed to. It was a game that was designed with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 in mind, yet it barely really ran on those systems. The development of this game started way back in like 2013, before the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X even existed, yet when it came out on the consoles, it was just such a broken, buggy mess for a majority of people. I do know that there are some people who didn't have major problems with their experience when it came to Cyberpunk 2077, and like, that's cool, but a vast majority of us did have problems. I had personal problems with the game, but one thing that I thought would maybe get me back into this game was the next generation patch, or really it's the current generation patch. I mean, can't we stop calling this system the next generation, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X? Like, it's been nearly a year. Like, let's drop the next generation stuff. Let's just talk about them being as the current systems on the marketplace. Well, this next generation patch, or current generation patch, was of course supposed to come out early in 2021. This was supposed to be supplemental to the game to improve the game as far as graphics and performance were concerned on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, but of course there was a big problem with that. Cyberpunk 2077 was a broken mess when it launched. So instead of that, CD Projekt Red has been having to work on subsequent patches for the game. Like, this game was so broken it got taken off of the PlayStation Store. Like, it was ridiculous how big of a fiasco this was and how big of a failure it was for CD Projekt Red. So people have been wondering, well, what's sort of the status of the next generation patch, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X version of the game? Well, recently a conference was held by CD Projekt Red, and the president of the company said the following about this patch. We are focused on the development of the next-gen version of the game. Our target date for release for the next-gen update is late 2021. Please note, however, that as the game is still in development, production plans might be subject to change. So in other words, what does that mean? This isn't coming out this year. Come on, people. Let's be realistic here. This company has lied to you a million times. They lied to you about the game. They lied to you about what you would do in the game. They lied to you about petty little things. When it comes to big things, do you not think the company CD Projekt Red is going to lie to you once again? I mean, this is ridiculous to think that this patch is going to come out this year. Cyberpunk 2077 still has core issues with the game. They're still releasing updates and patches for the base version of the game. Now you're going to talk about a next generation version of the game, which of course you're going to have to tinker with the source code and do things like improve upon the graphics when it comes to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X versions of the game. Don't you think that's going to cause, well, I don't know, a couple more problems in the source code of the game? Like, this game is fundamentally flawed, and when you're adding in things like improved graphics and things like that, it's going to mess things up as you go along. You know, it's kind of like that thing where you go back in time, you don't want to crush any bugs or anything or step on anything because you could change the course of the future. That's what it's going to be like with this game. You're just adding in the chance for more issues to pop up. So this isn't coming out in 2021. I'll be surprised if it comes out in 2022. And if it does come out in 2022, it's kind of like, what's the point? You know, is there really a large dedicated segment of people who are like, I need this patch because I want to play the best version of really a mediocre sort of open world game that is just, you know, is very overhyped and it definitely underdelivered? Like, I don't know. Like, the game was on sale for $10 at certain retailers pretty recently. So it seems like this game has sort of come and gone. Like, you getting new games in 2021 and 2022. There's big titles releasing. Do you really want to waste your time going back to Cyberpunk 2077 2077 to see if it finally still works. I don't know. It's just something that's really strange to me, how we as, you know, consumers of video games, we constantly give games like a second and a third and a fourth chance. You don't do this with like movies and things like that. You watch a movie, if the movie sucks, the movie sucks. Like, that's it. You move on with your life, you go on to the next movie. But with video games, it seems like we give them a larger window of opportunity, which, I mean, is really weird because a video game is $60 or more when it comes out usually, and a movie is much cheaper than that. But those are just my thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077. If you're expecting this update to come out in 2021, I wouldn't hold your breath. I haven't turned on my PlayStation 5 since I beat Ratchet and Clank, and I mean, it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know. I just play my third-party games on my Xbox Series X. I like the menu system a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to navigate and things like that. But you know what? I'm turning on my PlayStation 5 because the newest games coming to PlayStation Plus have been announced for the month of September. Now, this will be starting on Tuesday, September 7th, and it'll be going until Monday, October 4th. And there's like 2 games that I want to play on this, 2 out of 3. And as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't know, Meatloaf's kind of cool. But let's talk about the games. The first game we're going to talk about is a game that I'm not really interested in, but I know a lot of people will be interested in the game, and that is Overcooked All You Can Eat. Now, this is obviously a party game, something you play with like friends and local multiplayer. I don't have time to, you know, go make friends and be like, hey, you want to play Overcooked? Like, I don't know. It's just, that's not something for me, but maybe if you got like friends or family over at the crib, you could play this game, and you know, it's something simple, pick up and play, a lot of chaotic fun. But the other 2 games are definitely very interesting to me, and they're definitely 2 games that I want to check out. The first one being Hitman 2. Now, this isn't the original Hitman 2 that released on the GameCube and the PS2 back in the day. No. This is Hitman 2, like the rebooted Hitman 2. I've never played this game. I played the original Hitman 2 back in the day. I don't know anything about this Hitman 2, but I liked Hitman 3 enough to want to play this game and see what this game is all about. I know Rerez just recently did like a series talking about the Hitman franchise and how it's one of his favorite franchises. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing this, and finally, maybe I'll get a little redemption, or maybe this game will sort of redeem me, and that is Predator Hunting Grounds. Now, when this game got the beta on the PlayStation 4, I absolutely hated it. I thought it sucked. I thought the playing as the Predator was clunky. I thought playing as the humans was clunky. Everything about the game was just very clunky to me. But evidently, a lot of people disagreed with me on that, because that video of my beta impressions definitely got a lot of downvotes on it. But this game is now free, and that makes me very interested in it. Now I want to jump into it and see how the game has evolved, because supposedly the final product was better tuned than the beta was. So I loved Ilphonic and their sort of style of games like this. I love the Predator movies. Predator and Predator 2 I think are awesome. I wish they would have done some more Predator 2 stuff. Like, could you imagine like being in an urban setting in this game and like having like an LA style level? I don't know. I think that would be really cool. But yes, Predator Haunting Ground will be one of the 3 games available. And really, I think this is a very solid lineup of games. I mean, you got an indie classic that a lot of people like. You got Hitman 2 and you got Predator. So I don't know. I'm definitely checking out Hitman 2 and Predator. Let me know in the comments section down below what games you'll be checking out from the PlayStation Plus lineup for the month of September. And finally, a September Nintendo Direct is something that a lot of us think are coming, myself included, because, I mean, it just makes sense. Nintendo always seems to do a Nintendo Direct in the month of September, whether it's a full-on Nintendo Direct or a Nintendo Direct Mini. Of course, you have the fact that Nintendo needs to talk about their holiday lineup of games, talk about what games will be coming to the Switch, what games from third-party developers will also be coming to the Switch, and then you have to talk about early 2022 games as well, because people need to know what sort of games they're going to be playing. But do we have a date for when this Nintendo Direct is supposedly going to happen? Now, we talked yesterday or 2 days ago on the channel about how some people like Zippo, who is a leaker, were saying that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct this week, and I said, no, there's not. There's not going to be a Nintendo Direct this week, and lo and behold, now it is Thursday. We have not had any announcement of a Nintendo Direct, which leads a lot of people to think that there's not going to be a Nintendo Direct. It's not going to happen on Friday because of time zone differences. By the time Friday comes around here, it's almost, the weekend in Japan. So no, there's not going to be a Nintendo Direct this week, but a new date has popped up, and I think that there might be be something to this date. So the new date in question is September 8th, which is a Wednesday, and it is of course next week. Now, why are people talking about September 8th? Well, this kind of stems from something that was discovered recently. Basically, Monolith Soft's website, who of course is the developer of games such as Xenoblade, says that they will be doing a server maintenance on September 8th and the site will be down. Now, upon first inspection, that's not really a huge deal or anything like that. Like, people put down their websites all the time, but I don't ever recall Monolith Soft actually making it a point to say, hey, our servers are going to be down on September 8th. Like, are a lot of people going to Monolith's website to the point of where they need to announce something like that? Like, that seems like a weird thing to sort of announce. And then, of course, you have the fact that supposedly Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the next game from Monolith Soft. Supposedly, it's very far in development. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the channel. Basically, the too long didn't read version of it is that essentially this game is well under development. It was originally supposed to come out in the end of 2021, but because of COVID and things like that, it has been moved to early 2022. That's sort of what the scheduling looks like now. It could end up being like a summer 2022 title, but evidently this game is very far along. Now, Nintendo loves to show off Xenoblade games during directs, whether it's to start out a direct or to end a direct. We've seen directs start out with, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and we've seen directs ended with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So I think there might be something to this. Now, I have heard off the record that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct potentially next week, and I think this is sort of lining up with what a lot of people are expecting. Now, obviously, Monolith would have to do things like take down their website to update their website with information on Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so could we get an announcement early next week, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, and then get a Nintendo Direct on Wednesday, September 8th? I'm definitely not writing it off. You know, Nintendo likes to do their Nintendo Directs earlier in the month of September when you look at historically speaking, and in previous Nintendo Directs. So September 8th might end up being the day. I wouldn't be super surprised if come Monday of next week we get an announcement of a Nintendo Direct. Now, of course, what sort of Nintendo Direct is this going to be? Is it going to be a full-on one? Is it going to be a Direct Mini? I really don't care. I think Nintendo Direct Minis can be just as good as full-on ones. They're just usually shorter, you know, 20 to 30 minutes instead of 30 to 50 minutes, which you see with a lot of standard Nintendo Directs. But yeah, so now a lot of people are thinking that this could be the day, September 8th, and I'm kind of inclined to believe that it might be, but what do you think? A coincidence, or is there something more to this website server going down on September 8th and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 potentially being a thing and there's supposed to be the Nintendo Direct in the month of September? Let me know in the comments down below. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and share the video as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. I'm going to try to go to sleep. Later.